Welcome to
Theories
of the third kind.
Welcome to Theories of the Third Kind. My name is Aaron. The other person joining me is Danielson.
Hello.
Now, before we get into today's episode, we do have a quick announcement to make.
If you would like to support the show, you can do so by joining our premium subscription service, Supercast. It's not through Patreon anymore. It is now Supercast. And for just $6.66 a month, you enjoy weekly premium audio episodes and access our extensive back catalog of over 210 premium episodes that are all ad-free.
Take that for $6.66.
Boom, I'll give you $6.67.
Or if you are a big baller, shot caller, and you run 24-inch blades like little Troy, and you can afford $9.99 a month, you can get access to our exclusive Supercast videos that we only publish on Supercast, along with all of the bonus video content that we post on there.
That is right.
So you can sign up for that and become an elite third kinder.
Elites.
So to get access to that, just go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com. And right there in the middle of the website, there's going to be a button that says Supercast. You just click right there, and that'll take you right to it. Also, I do want to say that if you are currently a Patreon subscriber, you are going to get grandfathered in and still continue to pay $5 a month for your premium audio. You don't have to support Satan and pay $6.66. We'll have a link down below if you're watching our YouTube video that will have access to all of that information. And yeah, it's just one click of the button and you'll get migrated over from Patreon to Supercast.
Boom, that easy.
All right.
Now, we know things are tough out there right now. So if you can't afford a premium membership, but you still want to help us out, then you can do so by leaving a written review on our iTunes or Spotify.
That helps us out a lot.
However, though, don't feel pressure to leave us one. If you don't want to, then that's fine. We just want you guys, girls, aliens, reptilians, Bigfoot, Sasquatches, Chupacabras, ghosts, Illuminati members, underground lizard people, whoever or whatever you are, to enjoy the show.
Also, remember, our content is entirely human-made. From these bloody human hands, we've built this. And this is our second time recording this episode.
No,
So
it's
that's
not.
now you know it's not AI made because they wouldn't have made that mess up. We did an entire episode, over an hour long recording just to realize that we screwed up on the video. So needless to say, we don't use AI. No AI was harmed in the process of
Just
making
us.
this. Yes, just our bloody hands.
And our pride.
And that right there is the end of our announcements. So today's episode is a Theories Thursday. Now, if you have no idea what a Theories Thursday is, it's okay. Dan will tell you exactly what it is.
All right. So a Theories Thursday is when Aaron and we both independently research a topic of our choosing, and on day recording, we bring it and we kind of surprise each other on what it is.
We don't tell each other what the topic is beforehand. So with that being said, the hardest thing to figure out about a Theories Thursday, besides myself, is figuring out who goes first, which for that, we have dice. And do you just want to go with what we previously rolled, with you going first or me going first? Or do you just want to roll again?
I can go first since we've already done the dice roll, since this is the second time.
Yeah, the first time Dan won the dice roll and he decided to go first. So we're just going to keep it as that.
Sorry to think. Is it actually whoever wins? Is that actually winning or is that losing?
It's whatever way you look at it.
Oh man, me and my half cup full.
All right. Well, with that being said, Dan, what is your Theories Thursday topic today?
All right. So for my Theories Thursday topic, this was something that I came across, which was a secret operation that happened during the Cold War in the Arctic region.
Ooh, I love top secret operations.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty secretive, but, we'll see. Now, during this time, of course, it's the Cold War. You got the United States and the Soviet Union going back and forth, countering each other. oh, we're going to get intelligence on you. We're going to do this. Oh, no, but I'm doing this, yada, yada. This is what was going on in the Arctic a lot. And the reason it was happening in the Arctic is that the Arctic region was the shortest distance between both countries. The United States was worried that if the Soviet Union did attempt to invade the United States, it would be from the polar north. They could launch aerial threats via strategic bombers and intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, not IBMs, the computers.
Yeah, they won't be launching computers out the window.
Take this monitor.
We don't want it.
Now, you can't forget about the maritime threats of ballistic missiles from submarines and the hunter-killer submarine operation being done under the, Arctic ice. And another reason that the Arctic was chosen was because of its strategic importance of intelligence collecting, which is of the submarines that were, patrolling underneath the ice. Now, in the Arctic, the one thing that there was an abundance of was huge chunks of drifting ice.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of ice.
Not the kind you smoke.
Now, if the size of that drifting ice was just right, it was possible to build a drifting ice station, mostly for research purposes during the Cold War. But, if it was big enough, they could build a whole ice station and maybe a runway for military planes to land and take off for research purposes.
That's a big ass block of ice.
It is. And of course, everyone knew that it wasn't really for research purposes. It was mostly for espionage operations. But for it to not be attacked, both sides, United States and the Soviet, it's like, oh, these ice stations are for research purposes. We're using it for, to look at the weather and, all that other good stuff.
Not for war purposes.
No, don't attack this. You're going to be killing civilians.
Why you won't go around here and cause all this trouble?
Why are you going to go around floating around here causing all this trouble?
Nah.
So these drifting ice stations, they never stayed in place, hence the drifting. So it's not likely, they could be marked on the map and then come back to it and boom, drop bombs on it or anything like that. That was the benefit of it, is that it's always moving. But the downside of it is that it is ice. It can start to melt, it could break. Then again, it's the Arctic, so the weather could get bad and just pretty much make it a shitstorm for anybody working on it. It could destroy equipment. I mean, you got to think of the safety of the researchers. And that right there is pretty much part of what my topic is. Operation Coldfeet.
I like that name.
Every time I think about it, I see the ice and I see cold feet, and I start thinking actually Happy Feet, the Penguin movie.
I think of just cold feet being cold. Man, I'm standing on a block of ice barefoot. My feet's going to be cold.
You get what's that called?
Cold feet.
No, where you get the cold burn. What is it? Frostburn.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like frostburn, ain't it?
I have no idea. Frostbite.
Frostbite, not frostburn. Frostburn's the gloves off of Diablo 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some good gauntlets. If you're a sorceress.
In Diablo 2 only.
Or a paladin. That's lower level, 30 and below.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They suck in D4 though. But all right. So on to the story of Operation Coldfeet. In May of 1961, the U.S. Navy patrol aircraft conducting an aeromagnetic survey in the Arctic Ocean had spotted a Russian ice station, which they labeled NP-9. This station was abandoned due to bad weather and the fact that the Russians, they thought it was going to fall apart after that. So they evacuated all their researchers and whoever else was there. And once the United States actually discovered, the Soviet base NP-9, a naval lieutenant, Leonard Leshak, of the Office of Naval Research Arctic Program, became very interested in it. He wanted to develop a plan to learn more about the Soviets' activities on these ice stations. And the United States military also wanted to know just as badly as Leonard did. All they knew was that the Soviets said that they were studying the weather and any other basic scientific research that they would do in like the Arctic region. Probably the whole the water temperature and the way that it's moving, if it's bringing hot water, cold water, all that crap.
Yeah, and you said also when they drill a hole and pull the ice out of the hole and stick their wiener in it.
Yeah, cold wiener. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, lots of wrong. Anyway, now Leshak debated with the higher ups, saying, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to learn about what they were studying. We could learn what information the Soviets had collected, whether it be just notes on the weather, procedures, what types of equipment they were using, their areas of specialization, and the most important thing of all, we could access and then assess their progress with acoustical detection systems, which they had no direct evidence that, the Soviets had, but with the United States Office of Naval Research, ONR, they had actually set up an acoustical surveillance network, on a friggin' ice drifting station in 1960, which they were using to track Soviet submarines. So if the United States was doing it,
Soviets were doing it.
Yeah. And with their, intelligence, with the stuff they were finding out, they kind of had an idea, but they had no physical proof of it. So this right here would have been the perfect opportunity to find that. And of course, and if they did have it, it would be the perfect chance to compare their systems to see if they can use it to make any improvements to theirs. So with Leshak actually telling the higher ups about this.
Who was Leshak again?
He is the lieutenant naval officer.
Okay. And he's the one that was like, hey, we need to look into this.
Yes.
All right.
So the higher ups finally agreed. They're just like, all right, you're right. We could use this information. It would benefit us to learn what they know. So we'll go ahead and, create an operation to go search this base. That is when they needed to come up with a plan to get on to the drifting station and then collect any valuable information. Now, what they would do would drop men out of an airplane, and then they would parachute down onto the drifting ice station, where they would then go and collect whatever information they could find and notify that, hey, we collected a bunch of stuff. You can come pick it up, and then you can come pick us up. We're ready to go, yada, yada. And that right there is where the problem was. We know how to drop y'all off. You fly an airplane, jump out, parachute down, whee.
Collect information.
Yeah. Take pictures, gather what you want.
Look at the holes.
Look at the holes in the ground like, oh, that's a Soviet wiener right there. Frostbite, it fell off. But how do we get you off the drifting ice?
I mean, you can't just jump in the water.
No. And then you can't, land a plane, obviously. This one, if it was that easy, they would have just landed a plane on there, then let them out.
You can't have a boat in the water.
No, it'd probably get shot down or sunk by a Soviet submarine.
Yeah, or Somalian pirates will come by and kidnap you. I'm the cat.
I don't think up that far north. No. They would freeze. But yeah, so it's like, so how do we get you off the island? I mean, technically it's kind of like an island, right?
Yeah, it's just a floating ice island.
Yeah. So how do we get you off of that? So there was this captain, John Cadwallader, a senior colleague of Leshak at the ONR's Arctic program, and he was the commander of Operation Coldfeet. And he had come up with an idea. Captain John thought that this operation would be the perfect opportunity to test out a retrieval system that was created for the Navy back in the 1950s. This retrieval system, called Skyhook, or officially known as the Fulton Surface-to-Air Recovery System, STARS, was invented by a Robert Fulton back in I think it was like 1953 he created it, or actually put it into action. What this Skyhook system consisted of was a 500-foot high-strength braided nylon line attached to a Zeppelin-shaped balloon, which raised the braided line to about 425 feet into the air. Then the aircraft, whichever aircraft that they had at the time, would have these 30-foot long horns, is what they called them. But if you think of a bug or something like that, they look like antennas sticking straight out of the nose of the plane. And they would be angled at a 70-degree angle, so it'd be kind of like this. And what would happen is the plane would come in at a cruising level or speed, cruising level speed, whatever. And once it hit the line, the braided line,
the antennas would kind of act like a guide and guide it in. So it would be like over here, and here comes the plane.
Yeah. So once those little horns acted as a guide, the line would hit the center and it would activate a mechanism called the Skyhook anchor, which then would pretty much clamp onto the line to keep it in place. Once that happened, the Zeppelin balloon would actually detach. It would just fly up and just go wherever. And then underneath of the plane, they would open up, pretty much probably like where the bomb hatch would be. These guys would be down there. There'll be a winch attached, and they would take a J-hook. And since the line was actually attached to the front, it would just be floating down below. Take a J-hook, hook onto it, bring it inside, and connect it to their winch. And then once it was connected to the winch, they lift whatever was connected on the other end up.
Sounds like a ride at Six Flags.
Not a ride that I would go on. No.
No.
All right. So now that they actually knew how to get off the ice station, the operation was fully planned out and was set to start immediately. Unfortunately, though, by the time they actually had it planned out, it was the winter of 1961, and the operation had to be put on hold because the weather conditions made parachuting onto the drifting ice station pretty much impossible. They jump out, wind catches them, pew, gone. Where'd they go? I don't know. And then, of course, the one other problem. They could not find the right support airplane to do this. And that's when Robert Fulton, the guy that created the Skyhook, was just like, hey, you know who I've been working with, right? Since the 1950s? The CIA. And guess what?
Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like walking down the street butt-ass naked with your dong hanging out. You need to have extra protection. And guess what? ExpressVPN protects you in your internet browsing.
Just think, every time you connect to an unencrypted network, like a cafe, hotels, airports, it's like you're walking out of the house naked. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to your personal data as well as grab your ding-dong if you're not wearing clothes.
And guess what? It doesn't take much technical knowledge to hack someone. Your data is valuable. Hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling your personal info on the dark web. But guess what? You can use ExpressVPN because it creates a secure, encrypted tunnel that you can just tunnel yourself into. And it's a tunnel between your device and the internet. Hackers can't access it, and they can't steal your sensitive data.
It'd take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption.
That's 1 billion years with a B.
B.
Just like bitch. So open up that app store, download ExpressVPN, fire up that app, and all you got to do is click one button, and your ass is protected.
That includes your phones, your laptops, tablets, and more. So you can stay secure on the go and no worries.
Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/theories.
That's expressvpn.com/theories. And you can get an extra 3 months free.
expressvpn.com/theories.
They have a plane perfect for this operation. The CIA had a secret proprietary company called Intermountain Aviation. Not the one that they use for drug smuggling, supposedly. But this one they use for their secret operations in Southeast Asia and other regions, for their covert espionage missions that they don't really talk about.
Are you talking about the ones where they would do flyovers and take photographs? And they would use those photographs to give to their pathfinders to navigate through certain areas?
Maybe this one is, I would say they would drop an agent down on the ground, and I guess whatever mission they were given to go do, once they were done, they needed to extract them. So the CIA had a B-17 aircraft that they actually remodeled and pretty much, got up to date with it, redid it, because the B-17s back then weren't that great. So pretty much no one was like, I don't want to ride in that thing.
I used to have a coworker who used to own a B-17. He flew it to work once and almost got arrested. Good old Larry. Anyway.
So yeah, the CIA actually had a B-17 that they used for these operations, and it was painted black, and it was already actually set up for the Skyhook, because they were using the Skyhook to pick up their agents, when they needed to be extracted pretty quickly.
They were already doing this.
They were already using the Skyhook in their missions. So now that they actually found the plane that they're going to use, the mission's planned out, everything should be good to go.
Giddy up, go parachute those people down, gather intel, and let's get them out.
Well, that would have been the plan until March of 1962, where the USSR, the Soviets, announced that they had to abandon another one of their ice stations, which they labeled as NP-8.
So you got MP9 and MP8, both of them out there floating.
That's right.
With nobody on them.
Nobody on them. They both abandoned. But the reasoning for this was that the runway of NP-8 had been destroyed due to heavy buildup of ice. So that means no planes were going or coming from NP-8. So they decided to evacuate it. And now there's NP-9 and NP-8. So it left them with a decision to be made. Do we go for NP-9 or do we go for NP-8?
Why not both?
I'm guessing they just probably didn't have the funding for it. But there were a couple factors that helped with making the decision, which firstly being that NP-9 had actually drifted too far from the planned launch point in Thule, Greenland. So as they wasted time trying to figure everything out, the island, the ice station, pretty much drifted too far out of their, I don't know how you would say that.
Flight zone.
Yeah, flight zone, because the plane only has so much fuel, even with it being modified to fly longer with more gas tanks, still pretty damn far.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one factor. And they did realize that NP-8 was actually closer to the Canadian territory, so closer to Canada land-wise, and would actually be easier since they could actually use the Canadian Royal Airport. So they're just like, that makes that actually easier, so we could go with NP-8. We could reach it easier, not waste a lot of gas. And then the second factor, the mission leaders, Captain Cadwallader, concluded that NP-8 would likely display evidence of more recent submarine surveillance work than NP-9 did, considering they just had left NP-8.
So they wanted the most recent submarine stuff.
Yeah. They don't want some
outdated.
Yeah, like almost a year old information, outdated stuff. Oh, they're supposed to be here. And oh, nope, they're there. Makes sense. Now, with those factors into play, NP-8 is where we want to go. They went to the Defense Intelligence Agency. They're like, hey, this is our plan. This is what we're going for. What do y'all think? They're just like, hey, sounds good. Here's $30,000 for funding. Do what you got to do. So boom, mission is a go. So by mid-May, they had everyone fly to the San Francisco airport to meet, and there they would fly to supposedly the Royal Canadian Airport. But there was a change of plans.
Uh-oh.
So instead of flying to the Canadian Royal Airport, the plans have changed since now the CIA has, their hands in this operation. They're just like, we aren't going there.
Yeah,
too many rules.
We got too much shit to do right now. Like other crazy stuff.
Yeah, too many rules, things that they would have to do legally, too much paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, they're just like, hey, we have a place we can go. We can go to Point Barrow, Alaska. There, we have part of the Arctic program there. We can work with them. And honestly, it's actually probably closer to NP-8 or easier. So they decided to go there instead. And when they all arrived there, that's when they would actually have their closed door meeting to discuss everything that's supposed to happen, how it would happen, who would go down, and all that, which Leshak would be one of the chosen ones to be dropped onto NP-8, and the other chosen to be dropped would be a Major James Smith of the United States Air Force, who was an experienced paratrooper and Russian linguist.
He can speak the native language.
So on May 26th, Leshak and a Pan American navigator had flown out to locate NP-8 to make sure they knew where it was so that the mission could go perfectly smooth. But after 13 hours of flying around and searching, they failed to locate it.
It done floated away.
It floated away.
Sunk.
It took them over 2 days to finally locate NP-8, which was on May 28th. And once they did, Operation Coldfeet was a go. Everyone boarded the CIA's B-17. It was piloted by a Connie Segrist and a Douglas Price, who would then fly them from Point Barrow, Alaska, and then drop them off over NP-8, which when I say drop, Leshak and Smith, and then they would parachute down onto NP-8, and then pretty much all the other equipment that they had that they needed would be dropped down right after.
Okay.
Which all of that went without any issues at all. No one got blown away by the wind or anything like that. So as they were dropped off, they started to get to work. And it wouldn't be till June 1st that the B-17 would return and pick up all the equipment that, Leshak and Smith had gathered up and put together and then attached the little Zeppelin balloon to. So the B-17 would come, retrieve it, and then head back to Point Barrow. So that left Smith and Leshak there for another 2 days so they could finish doing all their intelligence gathering, taking pictures, gathering documents, pretty much whatever. Playing in the little ice holes that were left by the Soviets. And then on June 3rd, of course, the second pickup would occur with Leshak. He would go, set himself up outside, attach himself to the little Zeppelin in the line, and he would sit there and wait for the plane to come by. Sadly, it didn't go without any, issues. There was a strong gust of wind that decided to happen, and it caught the balloon. And since nothing was holding Leshak in place, he kind of just got dragged across the ice for a while. So you got the plane kind of chasing this, Zeppelin balloon, and then you got Leshak and the balloon kind of just moving around. So it's like cat and mouse type thing. It finally stopped. The plane was able to attach onto the line that it was attached to the Zeppelin. Leshak was then, reeled in. Everything was good. Except for the fact that since there was a strong gust and the balloon was, spinning and everything, he was also spinning. So not only being dizzy, he was not able to actually breathe because every time he would go to breathe, the wind blowing in his face would pretty much stop it. So right when they actually got him up to the plane, straightened him out, he was actually able to catch his breath.
Yeah, and I bet the other guy that was sitting down below was like, well, fuck, I ain't gonna do that.
Dude, Smith is down there just like, holy shit, I gotta do that. I mean, they did practice this before, so this wouldn't be their first time, but they didn't have to do it where it was like extremely cold. I mean, Alaska, it's pretty cold, but they didn't have the strong gusts of wind and everything. So Smith ended up going out there. He got himself ready, attached himself and everything, inflated the Zeppelin balloon. But this time, instead of just, sitting there like Leshak did, he found himself like a divot or a hole in the ice to where he kind of stuck his foot in to where it would kind of keep him in place when the wind blew. So he was able to do that until the plane caught on. And I'm guessing he let his foot out.
If not, it would have broke it.
Yeah, it would have taken that shit right off. And that right there, they were both extracted from the island. No issues, no casualties. And they actually called Operation Coldfeet a success because they recovered a decent amount of information, about 83 documents, 21 pieces of equipment, and over 300 photographs with extensive notes. And the information that they gathered on the Soviets' research included evidence of advanced research on acoustical systems to detect under ice U.S. submarines and the research efforts to develop Arctic anti-submarine warfare techniques.
But do you think all of that information was planted since the Soviets knew that the Americans were coming to pretty much get all the documents there? So the Soviets were like, hey, I got an idea. Let's put fake information down in there or misleading information.
I would be 50-50 on it because why would the Russians announce like, hey, we're abandoning this. We're not going to be there. But then, of course, the U.S. actually did advance their acoustical systems and learn more about anti-submarine warfare techniques. So they did actually learn stuff. So they maybe probably left some stuff that was probably useful, and then some stuff was just probably BS.
Like, the moon is made of cheese. These holes feel good on your wiener, wink, wink.
It's a cool, soothing feeling. And then it starts to burn.
Well, that's an interesting Theories Thursday topic. I love it.
I thought it was pretty interesting because of the skyhook, which we do have a little clip of it, which we will play.
We'll bring it up right here for everyone to watch and enjoy. And it's not sped up, by the way.
It's not sped up.
This is really how fast they get grabbed by the hook. And if you've ever seen the movie Batman, when Batman goes into the building, the tall skyscraper, and he fights Joker, and then big plane comes by and he grabs Joker and gets taken. That's pretty much it.
or in James Bond, or if you played Battlefield 4 or Call of Duty, the skyhook was actually used in those games as well.
All right, let's watch this video real quick.
Video going up now.
God damn. He went, wee!
The speed that he went up in the air looks like the same speed, or probably even faster than going up in that one ride at like Six Flags, whatever. You go up and then they just drop you straight down the drop zone.
Oh, the Superman ride or whatever?
Is that what it's called there?
Think so. A guy had his legs ripped off of it not too long ago. I believe so. Look it up. Here, let's look it up. We're going to say Superman ride legs cut off. Yep, girl's feet severed on Superman ride. The cables caught around the teen's lower body, severing both of her legs above the ankles. People came out crying and freaked out and throwing up everywhere.
A 13-year-old girl's feet. Oh, God, that sucks. So yeah, but no, it is that's the ride I'm talking about.
June 21st, 2007. 13 years old. Six Flags, Kentucky Kingdom. Well, there's your problem.
It's in Kentucky.
Nobody lives in Kentucky. Doesn't even exist.
Where is that?
I don't know.
It's right beside Virginia.
Do you know anyone who lives in Kentucky?
I don't know anyone that actually lives in Kentucky, but I know people that like to go to Kentucky for like
the Derby.
Yeah, just like go for vacation for like a week maybe and then leave.
I know they have the Derby and they have a good basketball team. College basketball. That's about it.
But yeah, that pretty much, if you saw the video, he got pulled up into the air.
Mm-hmm.
You figured that would like cause physical harm.
You assume so.
But somehow they seem to be okay.
Well, good for them.
I think they got lucky.
Yeah. I love a good top secret operation.
Now, someone did make another retrieval system that was kind of like the skyhook, but instead of you inflating a Zeppelin and having a line come for you, the plane would actually drop down a line from 4,000 feet in the air, and it would do a kind of like circular motion in the sky to where it would actually make the rope spiral, but it will still be moving in the air. And on the ground, the thing would be just dragging on the ground slowly to where you can hook up to it. And with it being in a spiral, when it goes to, like, say, once you're finally hooked up to it and you let them know, like, hey, pick me up, Scotty, it will take off. And literally you just, in the sky, there's no like jerky motion or anything like that. It's actually very interesting. But the plane they used in the demonstration of it, you don't actually get pulled in to the ship. You're pretty much being dragged through the sky. And then once you get to a safe spot, you detach yourself and then you pop your parachute.
Damn. Thank God that they created helicopters. I mean, Kobe doesn't like it, but helped a whole bunch of other people.
I mean, they used it a lot in Vietnam, the helicopters, because the skyhook was actually going to be used in Vietnam to help get people out, but they decided to go with a helicopter instead, which I think is a better option.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that amazing operation and giving us all knowledge.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it. I hope everyone else enjoyed it.
If you or a loved one have been involved in this operation and you've been hooked up to a hook and then flown in the air, comment down below and let us know what you think. Or let us know how it went. You got back problems now? You got neck problems? Let us know.
Actually, I bet that probably helped the back problems.
Straighten you right out.
Straighten you right out.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn, huh?
It is now your turn, and I am very interested in what you got because it's something you mentioned something about dreaming.
Yeah. So as you know, this past week, we've been discussing Theories Thursday, and I've been thinking, okay, well, what topic am I going to go with? And I thought I had my topic down, and that was until Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So in my life, I have only lucid dreamt a couple times. You know, I would go to sleep and just have my normal dreams, but then sometimes they would be lucid. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all three of my dreams were lucid. And I took that as a sign and decided, hey, I'm going to switch my topic up to lucid dreaming. Yeah.
Okay.
So as some of you may know, back in February of 2023, we released an episode on dreams. And in it, we kind of talked about lucid dreaming. We didn't cover it in depth, but we discussed it a little bit. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to talk about it just a little bit more in depth and discuss some other stuff that I found, like anomalies and other things like that, in groups of people who get together and they have to get naked and lucid dream together, but it's really weird. But anyways, we'll talk about that later.
Sounds fun.
All right, so that's what my topic's over today, lucid dreaming.
Sleeping together all naked and lucid dreaming.
So to start off today's episode, I need you to take your clothes off, Dan. We're going to lucid dream.
I knew it.
All right. So to start things off, if you don't know what lucid dreaming is, I'm going to tell you. All right. So lucid dreaming is where a person goes to sleep like they normally do, and they begin to dream. However, while dreaming, this person becomes aware that they are in a dream state. And of course, this lucid dream starts to feel very vivid and real. Or should I say, this dream starts to feel very vivid and real, and it becomes a lucid dream. Now, what happens at this time is that you start to become aware that you're in a dream, and almost everyone starts to freak out, which causes them to wake up. However, on rare occasions, when the dreamer becomes aware that they are in a dream and they do not immediately wake up, this dreamer is then able to manipulate aspects in their dream, such as changing the scenery, gaining superpowers like flying, and interacting with some of the people that are inside of their dream, which this sometimes turns out to be a very bad idea, but I'll save that for later on. All right, so lucid dreaming is not that rare. And Dan, if you had to guess, what is the percentage of people who have experienced a lucid dream before?
20%.
Nope. 55% of people in the world.
So half the population of Earth.
Have lucid dreamt before.
Okay.
Yeah. So 55% of people have experienced at least one lucid dream in their lifetime. And out of that 55%, what do you think the percentage is of those individuals who report having lucid dreams regularly, which is defined as once a month or more? What's the percentage who lucid dream more than once a month or more?
So the percentage out of those 55%. 19%.
Close. So close. 23%.
Oh, so close.
Which, in my opinion, I thought that number was going to be a lot lower. I figured it'd be like 7% or maybe like 4 or 3% of people can lucid dream regularly. Not 23%.
Yeah, I thought I was highballing.
Yeah, damn. So that is lucid dreaming. And I know some of you might be wondering, how do I lucid dream? If you can't, can you lucid dream?
Not that I know of.
Well, I'm going to teach your bitch ass. So strap in. All right. So there are a few things that you can do to help you lucid dream and become aware that you are in a dream. Some of these things include external stimulation.
External stimulation, like outside of the dream?
Oh, yeah. So I have never heard of anyone doing this before, but apparently it's new. I thought it's been around for a while because when you read it, you figured somebody would have thought of this a long time ago. I don't know. But apparently what individuals are doing is attaching this device in front of their face. And then this device has electrodes that goes to their brain. And those electrodes, once they detect that the dreamer is in REM sleep, this device will either start flashing lights, which then alerts the person in the dream state. Oh, what are all these lights? Oh, I'm in a dream.
I'm in a disco.
And then the other thing it does is it has sound cues. So instead of flashing lights, it could be like,
it's a dream, bitch. So pretty much something like that. Just something to alert you.
Yeah. And then you'll be in your dream and you hear Dan say,
"You're dreaming, bitch."
you can be like, oh shit, I'm dreaming. Thanks, Dan. And then
you're welcome.
then you can go.
You could hire me for $100 an hour. I'll sit there and wait till you start falling asleep. You're dreaming now, bitch.
All right. So that's one of the tools that people use. Another tool that helps individuals is actually setting an intention to remember.
I want to dream, bitch.
I want to dream, bitch. That kinda. It's like affirmations. For an example, before falling asleep, repeat a phrase like, I will realize I am dreaming. And then that supposedly helps you lucid dream.
So it's kind of like accessing the Akashic records.
Yeah.
When you're starting to meditate and all that, state your intention, like what you're going to the Akashic records for. But this is with your dream going there. I am going to dream. I'm going to do this or whatever.
I'm going to become aware in my dream. Yeah.
Okay. The power of the mind, people. Power of the mind.
Now, it is important to know that some individuals have experienced weird and strange things happening to them while they are dreaming, or happen to them while they are dreaming. And this just isn't with one or two people. There are reoccurring anomalies that happen to a lot of people. For example, when you begin to look into the dreaming community, which there's like an entire community around this, lucid dreaming. This dreaming community shares a lot of their stories, and in them, you'll begin to see a pattern of a lot of these, what they call experienced dreamers, telling individuals who are like beginner dreamers that, hey, you need to stay away from mirrors.
Mirrors?
And they're like, yeah. So they state that the reason you need to stay away from mirrors is that there is a overwhelming amount of data that almost all individuals who look at a mirror in their dream will see something unsettling or even outright scary. Negative thoughts will enter your mind, and from there, the dream will go downhill very quickly. And this is reoccurring, like nonstop. Yep. Another thing that is very odd in a lucid dream are words. Like if you have a piece of paper with stuff written down on it and you try to read it, the words will look like, I don't know, weird symbols and stuff, or it'll be like all scratched out and stuff like that. If you look at signs on walls or other things, they'll just be incomprehensible. You can't read them. Another thing is time. Time is totally warped within the dream. And those who are familiar with lucid dreaming will know that any clock, whether it is digital or analog, is incomprehensible. Digital clocks turn into sort of like a cryptic alien symbol. Like, you know, in that movie, Alien versus Predator, I think. Arnold Schwarzenegger, at the end, he's like, oh, you're one ugly son of a bitch. And then the alien's laying down and he's like, pulls up his arm. Those symbols right there. And he goes, Those symbols right there is what it looks like when you look at time.
I'm going to Photoshop you with the alien thing on your arm and
Now, if you look at the hands on an analog clock, every time you look at them, they'll move around to where you can't tell the time, which is very odd. Now, another thing is that if you come across an individual in your dream and you ask them what time, what is the time? What time is it? This random person will always become extremely angry and begin yelling at you.
Oh, just like people in reality now.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, don't mess with me.
Don't talk to me.
Now, what makes this even scarier is that there have been a staggering amount of individuals who have reported this happening to them while lucid dreaming. And when I say random person in your dream, it could be like your mom, brother, basically anyone in your dream. If you ask them, hey, what time is it? They will get super pissed off at you.
Interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of people have reported this. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. stories of these anomalies that individuals have reported. So, yeah, I have a couple stories. Now, our first story comes from the website Reddit. You know, Reddit, you can go to it and it has a bunch of subgroups. And there's a subgroup called Lucid Dreaming where all these people pretty much go on there and they say, hey, I'm an expert dreamer. You don't want to masturbate while dreaming. Or like, hey, I'm an expert dreamer, but have you experienced the no-face man or something? Stuff like that.
I like the AMA subreddit. Ask me anything.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you like that one.
Oh, I do.
All right. So on this Lucid Dreaming subreddit, around 3 years ago, an individual made a post that stated, "What is the strangest lucid dreaming experience you've ever had?" Shortly after that question was posted, an individual that went by the username Ashamed Anteater, he commented, or she, or it, or they, or an alien, whatever, commented and said, "My first lucid dream was in a cafeteria packed with people. Once I looked at my hands and realized I was lucid dreaming, I stupidly told the person next to me, 'Hey, this is a dream.' Suddenly, the cafeteria went dead silent, and everyone turned their heads to look at me, and their eyes turned green, red, or black. My dream changed, and I heard an unfamiliar female voice say out loud,
'You're dreaming, bitch.'"
Not that.
Sorry, got that.
"The dream has been changed for your safety." Freaked out, but still wanting to explore my lucid dream, I ended up continuing my journey, eventually eating raw cookie dough and talking to a tiny red dragon. And that's the end of our first story right there. So, yeah, I've never ate anything in a dream before.
Never ate anything in a dream and definitely didn't talk to no tiny little dragon. Maybe I need a lucid dream and try it. Maybe it's the new thing.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this next story, which comes from the same exact post, but it's from a different individual commenting. And this individual's username is Jabanalislik.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you say that one more time?
Jabanalislik.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah. So this individual said, "I don't believe in aliens, but I had an alien abduction lucid dream." Hell yeah.
Nice.
"I was lucid and floating down this dark tunnel. I made it to a bed, and these aliens are probing me and putting tubes all inside of my body. I am lucid and totally enjoying what's happening. Somehow, the aliens notice I am lucid and they begin to panic. I tell them, hey, totally fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep sticking those tubes in." But then one of the aliens look at me and they push their fingers into my chest as a way to make me not lucid dream anymore. When he does this to me in my dream changes to a hospital room. It's the same scene, but the aliens are doctors. And this creepy alien room is a normal hospital. Shortly after that, I wake up. And that's the end of that one. Makes you wonder if aliens are able to access our dreams and traverse into that realm, if it is a realm that they can traverse into, and disguise themselves to run experiments on us. Or maybe dreaming is just a way for AI to collect our thoughts and data and download what we did that day. I don't know. Save those theories till the end.
Honestly, that story made me think that he just relived his birthing. Going down a long black tunnel. Next thing he sees is a bed. Then all of a sudden, there's aliens surrounding him and they're putting tubes in him. Maybe he just was just born and these aliens he they're actually just doctors putting tubes like down, make sure you can breathe and everything. That's why it felt so good. Oh, I got oxygen now. I can breathe.
Stick those tubes in me.
Stick those tubes in me. And they're just like,
it.
and the doctor's just like, this baby just talked. I don't know. That's what I kind of thought of when I first heard that. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe he likes being probed by aliens. You know, teach their own.
Who doesn't?
No kink shaming.
All right. Well, let's talk about this last story, which comes from an individual named Daniel. So Daniel stated, and I quote, "I have documented my lucid dreams inside my bed journal for the past year. My journal is very decorated with my Asian ancestry from Vietnam written all over it.
Ooh.
One night while I began to lucid dream, I noticed I was standing in a large warehouse with around 20 other individuals who were all staring at a giant countdown clock on the wall. I turned to my right and noticed my mother Kim is standing next to me as well. I turned back to looking in front of me, and I notice that there's another person in front of me. I decide to ask the people around me that were staring at the clock, 'What time is it?' At the same time, all the individuals staring at the clock turned their heads at the same time and looked at me and said, 'Why?' I freaked out, and I forced myself out of the lucid dream. It was at that point that I decided to document what happens if I ask people in my dream what the time was. So for the next 5 dreams, I did the same exact thing, and the same exact thing happened. I would begin dreaming, the dream would be different, but I would immediately ask an individual, 'What time is it?' That person would always become extremely hostile.
And say, why?
And that's the end of that story.
Damn.
So thank you for that, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you for that, Daniel.
So like I said, there is this reoccurring anomaly where individuals inside of dreams get upset at the dreamer for asking what time it is, which leads me to the next section. A few theories as to why this is happening. There's a couple theories. The first theory is called neurological. This theory states that dreams are generated by a complex neural process in the brain, and asking for the time, it might activate a part of the brain usually associated with logical thinking that is more of like an arrest state at that point. This activation, this sort of like sudden shift, could create like a conflict, and it reflects in the dream character's reactions. The brain's attempt to maintain the dream narrative might manifest as anger or resistance. So it's basically like activating your brain, and your brain's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell did you do that for? The next theory is called expectation. This theory states that, hey, the dreamer's expectations can shape the experience. If a dreamer expects that, hey, if I ask what time is it, and I expect people to get angry, they're going to get angry. And since you have all of these other lucid dreamers basically saying the same thing, you go into it, you're going to expect hostility. And that's pretty much what it is. You're manifesting what's, occurring.
I can see that one.
Yeah. All right. So this last theory is called different dimensions. And this one's a little more odd, but it's my favorite. This theory states that dreams are a completely different world or dimension, and human souls enter it when we go to sleep. This dream dimension is not bound by the same logical constraints as our regular world, meaning that time does not exist in the dream dimension. And that is why these beings inside of our dreams get so upset. They're like, we don't want you bringing that lower vibrational stuff up here to our higher vibrational world or dimension. Don't bring that earthly stuff up here.
You keep your 24 hours.
Yeah.
We don't need that shit here.
Maybe that's it. Or maybe the word time. What time is it? Maybe time means something else to those individuals in the dream world. Maybe it's like a curse word. What time is it? What the hell did you just say to me?
I don't give a flying time.
Yeah, maybe it means that. And they're like, you want to fight, huh? I'll beat your ass in the dream world, bitch.
That's right.
But yeah,
Okay.
those are some theories, which I like to view the dream world as a different dimension.
You know, the neurological one, it didn't really click until now. Think of your body as a computer system. Now, when you go to sleep, the computer processes everything go down. It's now in like a little automatic mode where it's on standby and just things are just cruising, low power. But then when you start to lucid dream and you start asking questions inside, the processes start going up and your computer's just like, hey, the fuck you doing here? Like, we're on standby.
Maybe it's the individuals in your dream are getting sort of like told by the computer or your brain, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we're trying to rest here, bitch.
It really made me think of the movie Tron. Now you
Never seen it, but okay. I know they ride around like flashy motorcycles, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I saw the movie. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie Tron.
Well, yeah, they ride around flashy motorcycles. The end.
Not entirely. This ain't like friggin' Fast and the Furious over here.
Okay.
But it's like, it kind of ruins it. I can't explain it like that now. All right. So it's just like you're going to sleep. Your whole body's a computer system. You go to sleep, it's on standby. But then there's this one process that's running, and the computer system's just like, what the hell's going on? Everything's supposed to be on standby. You in your dream is that process that's running that shouldn't be running at the moment. You're supposed to be in rest mode. And the rest of it, like I said, all the other people in your dream, they're part of the processes that are just kind of just staring at that clock that can't be read, just going by. And then they get interrupted by you. Now their processes are going up and everyone's just like, what's going on? Then most people wake up.
Mm-hmm.
It's because now the computer system is booting up just like, because everything's starting to go off.
Damn. We figured it out.
I mean, that could be a thing.
Yeah. Now, I do have a bonus anomaly I want to talk about real quick.
All right.
And this involves astronauts. And my mind was blown when I learned about this. So, did you know that astronauts that go into low Earth orbit have all reported having extremely vivid night terrors? And it's all of the same dream. All of them. They all have the same dream. Their dream is that they are falling back into the earth, and the earth opens up like a mouth and swallows them. Yeah, it's weird. And there's some theories as to why they have this dream, but these theories are pretty radical. When's the last time anyone's ever used that word? Radical.
Canceled.
Fucking sick. Radical. Yeah.
Radical, dude.
So the theory is that the earth is a living being thing, like a creature of sorts. And it's very possessive of us as in humans. It desires to be the one and only planet to have human life on it. But why? Well, there's a theory that the sensation of thermodynamic exchange that takes place on the surface due to humans is what the planets crave. And they want human life on it to have this thermodynamic exchange taking place on their surface. And Earth is like very possessive of us. And anyone that tries to travel outwards, they try to suck them back in.
I like that.
I do too. Getting sucked by the Earth. Anyway, so that right there is my Theories Thursday topic. I hope you enjoyed it. Lucid dreaming. When you go tonight and you go to dream, say, what motherfucker time is it?
I got two things.
Okay.
Actually, probably just one. It's about the astronauts. Their night terror dream. I was just thinking about it. What's the one thing they don't have in space that they have on Earth? Or
Fleshlights.
what's one thing they don't have in space that they have on Earth that they need to survive? It's not even really survive.
Food. No, they have food.
Okay, what I'm trying to say, gravity.
Gravity. Okay.
In space, they don't have gravity. In the ships, inside, I mean, they could turn on like gravity thing, but they don't. Like they float around. When they sleep, they strap themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
All that. What if that is their body missing gravity? Because they're so used to gravity. They lived their whole life with gravity, and then now they're in outer space, and that feeling of being kind of like brought down is gone. And that dream that they have is their body missing that sensation of gravity. And since Earth is where they have their gravity, in their dream, it's representing their body's missing that.
Hey, get your ass back down to Earth so I can experience this gravity.
Yeah.
Damn. Dan over here solving all the mysteries.
I don't know about solving, just my way of thinking.
Well, if you or a loved one have been sucked by the earth, as in had the dream where you fall into it, or if you lucid dream regularly and you would like to share your experience with us, send us an email to Aaron, Aaron, at theoriesofthethirdkind.com or Dan, Dan, at theoriesofthethirdkind.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, which if you aren't, I don't know why you are not. It's free on YouTube. All of our regular episodes are. Go there, watch it if you want to, and comment down below and tell us your experience with lucid dreaming or being sucked by the earth, or if you've been involved in Operation Coldfeet, or if you had your legs chopped off at a ride at Six Flags. We'd love to hear about all of that.
Actually, not the ride one.
Yeah. We hope your nubs feel better.
Hope so.
Well, with that being said,
you won't have cold feet.
God damn it, Dan. Well, with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us. And again, thank you for your support and doing your duty in educating the world. So with that being said, Dan, you want to roll us out?
Sure will. It's okay to be out of this world with your thoughts.
Because you are not alone.